What's up YouTube, I'm Guy, and today on the channel I want to talk about something that maybe you're not entirely familiar with. I know a lot of you are probably not terribly interested in it, but hopefully you'll stick around, check out this video, and perhaps you'll learn a thing or two. What we're talking about are high accuracy quartz watches, a technology that I think maybe is a little underappreciated, but I also think is a really cool thing. As you probably know, I've said it in the past, I'm a fan of quartz watches, and high accuracy quartz is sort of the king of the hill when we are talking about that style or type of watch. I do have a watch here on loan from a viewer, and a big thank you to him for sending it in. That's going to sort of stand in as the representation of this technology. It's a Bulova Precisionist, a pretty cool watch in its own right, and we'll see more of that watch here shortly. So before we talk about high accuracy quartz, first we should probably get a little bit of an understanding of how a quartz movement works in general. Here's a really basic, rudimentary explanation of that process. Inside of a quartz watch you have a battery or a power source. It sends energy over to an electronic circuit. The circuit sends the signal over to your quartz crystal. It's a small crystal shaped somewhat like a tuning fork, and when it receives that energy, it oscillates or resonates at a very specific rate. In this case, roughly 32,000 hertz. I think 32,768 to be exact. As it's resonating, the signal is getting sent back over to that electronic computer circuit, and it counts down all of those impulses and creates one pulse per second in most cases. Those pulses are sent over to an electronic stepping motor, which basically makes your handset on at least an analog watch move. The beautiful thing about a quartz movement is that it's very accurate. Usually, at a minimum, they're going to keep time in a range of plus or minus 15 seconds per month. Now, with the high accuracy quartz watch, instead of getting that 15 seconds per month, you're going to get something on the order of, generally speaking, better than 10 seconds per year. So we're going from a monthly accuracy rating to a yearly accuracy rating. And I know for me, being somewhat of an accuracy junkie, that is really appealing. Now, one of the big problems with quartz movements, probably one of the only problems, is that they're very sensitive to temperature fluctuation. So, you'll notice that if you take your quartz watch off and set it off to the side in a 75 or 76 degree room, it's going to keep different time than when it's on your wrist and it's a little bit warmer, or if you're outside a lot. The high accuracy quartz movements, at least in part, or should I say some of them, overcome this temperature sensitivity by using different methods for thermocompensation. Now, in the sample watch that we have here today, the Bulova Precisionist, it's actually not a thermal compensated movement. It uses a different shape quartz crystal and a very high frequency to achieve the very accurate timekeeping that it reaches. There's a lot of really good high accuracy quartz movements out there on the market today. Seiko, of course, is renowned, or Grand Seiko, I should say, with their 9F series movement. They even have a more affordable movement in their standard Seiko line, though, a watch that I reviewed in the past, a Seiko Dolce. It's like a $500 watch, and it is also accurate to plus or minus 10 seconds per year. There's other brands as well. Longines is probably another big contender with their very high precision VHP watches. And of course, Tissot and Certina have some affordable, relatively speaking, mid-range and entry-level watches that are also considered high accuracy quartz. One of the most impressive ones, though, is actually just a prototype, and we expect that we will probably see models using this new movement as soon as 2019. That watch, or should I say that movement, is from Citizen. It's the Caliber 0100, and it is going to be accurate to plus or minus 1 second per year. It's incredibly impressive in my opinion, and I'm kind of eagerly awaiting to find out what kind of watches they are going to start putting this movement in. Top that off with the fact that it is also a EcoDrive solar-powered watch, and they might have a real winner on their hands. The interesting thing about that Citizen watch, it runs at a rate, or I should say the crystal, the quartz oscillator, has a rate of 8.3 million hertz. Now remember we said that the standard quartz crystal oscillates or resonates at 32,000. This is 8.3 million hertz. So another really impressive piece of technology that we're going to find in that Citizen watch. So the thing we're talking about today, though, at least in part, is the Bulova Precisionist that I have on loan here. It's what they call their Ultra High Frequency quartz. And I had mentioned that they get around the problem of temperature sensitivity by building a quartz crystal. Instead of being a two-pronged sort of tuning fork shaped crystal, they added a third prong. And because of that, it runs at a much higher frequency than your 32,000 hertz of a standard quartz crystal. In fact, it is running at 262,000 hertz, plus or minus, there's a little bit of extra change there, or 262 kilohertz. It is a much higher frequency quartz movement, and because of that, they say that they don't have to thermally compensate it the way that some other high accuracy quartz movements function. So the Bulova Precisionist that we have here today, reference number 96B252, is a pretty nice watch and kind of a high value watch. It comes in at a price point of around $150, maybe $175, right in that ballpark. Overall, yeah, the style and the aesthetic doesn't blow me away, but a high value watch that has not only that extremely precise UHF movement, but a really nice dial design too, which we'll look at more closely. Basic specs on this watch, obviously you can see stainless steel case, metal bracelet. The dimensions a little bit on the large side in my opinion, at 43 millimeters in case diameter with 22 millimeter lugs. A thinness, or thickness if you will, of 10.5 millimeters, which is nice, and an overall lug-to-lug width of 51 millimeters. The dial and hands on this watch are really nicely done. The markers are all applied markers. There's kind of a sloping inner chapter ring that leads down to the dial. Overall, the presentation of the dial and the handset is really nice. I'm actually very impressed with it, considering, again, the price point. I wish that dimensions were scaled down a little bit, but, you can't have everything, I guess. There is some lume on the dial and on the handsets, but it's not outstanding. You can probably notice that the seconds hand is super smooth. Because of this high frequency quartz movement, it is actually beating at about 16 ticks per second, if I'm not mistaken. It's nearly as smooth as a Seiko spring drive. Maybe not quite, maybe you can see just a little bit of stutter there, but yeah, impressive nonetheless. The bracelet's fairly well done, solid end links, a mixture of brushed and polished surfaces. There's also a series of half links so that you can adjust the size to fit your wrist perfectly, and the butterfly deployant clasp is honestly really well done also. Again, at this price point, I think that this watch does punch a bit above its weight class. So while the dial's really nice, while it's got a pretty decent metal bracelet with clasp, solid end links, the thing that really is impressive about this watch is that high accuracy quartz or ultra high frequency movement. You're getting that level of precision, that plus or minus 10 seconds per year, that frankly you don't find in hardly any watches, but certainly not standard quartz watches, and most obviously not in mechanical watches. High accuracy quartz is a really cool technology. I'm very impressed by it, and like I have said many times, I like quartz watches in general. Now, am I looking to add one to my collection? Well, I haven't really seen one that I absolutely have to have. First and probably foremost for me is style and aesthetic when it comes to watch buying. And while there are some really attractive Grand Seikos, for example, they're not exactly affordable. It's not something that I would just buy at the drop of a hat. On the other hand, if we had a high accuracy quartz watch in this price range, under $200, maybe under $500, that I really liked aesthetically, yeah, most certainly I would probably add one to my collection. But I just haven't seen one yet. That doesn't mean I don't have my eyes peeled, and who knows what will come in the future. Alright guys, that's going to wrap up this video. I just wanted to talk about high accuracy quartz. quartz watches in general, show you this cool Bulova Precisionist watch that the viewer and fellow member of Horology 101's Facebook group sent over to me to check out. I really liked having it here, and yeah, overall, pretty impressed, both with the high accuracy quartz technology, and honestly, a pretty high value watch in this Bulova Precisionist. Thanks again for tuning in. As always, if you'd like to help support the channel, down in the description is a number of ways that you can do that. You can check me out and follow me on social media, be it Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram. There's also links to my Patreon account, and I could always use some more support over there. Thanks to everyone that has been supporting me on Patreon. I really do appreciate it. Finally, there is my Amazon affiliate link. If you like anything that I've reviewed and you're thinking about purchasing it, click that link first. I get a small commission. Those commissions do add up, and they really do help support me in what I'm doing here. Big thanks to everyone that has been using those links. Well, that's going to do it for today, and yeah, until the next one, bye now.